Remember your first bike ride? The wind in your face. The sense of freedom and adventure. Ampler's light e-bikes give you that feeling on every ride by making cycling effortless. Find your Ampler e-bike at amplerbikes.com.
Wow, CBD from Zen Native. Look at them. No, not them. Relax and turn it on. Calm down your mind. Get a relief. Be Zen Native. Be sexy. Zen Native will cool you down. Why get anxious? Why get edgy? When you can get Zen Native with free delivery from getheb.shop.
Hello and welcome to the BMX finals of Simple Session 2021. Coming to you from an all-new location, the Põhjala factory here in Tallinn, Estonia. I'm James Threlfall, and joining me today to take you through the BMX action is Daryl now. Daryl, how stoked are you to be back here?
James, the excitement to be in Tallinn, Estonia after the last year and a half we've had is so awesome for our riders. Even myself, I'm so excited. It's like a homecoming for action sports. So the energy is great, and the excitement, especially going to the finals, is very high.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for these guys, a lot of these guys, it might be the first contest they've hit in a while, right? So they're kind of going to be oiling things up and getting back into the swing of being back at a contest.
Yeah, that's an important thing to note. This is always a homecoming, good energy for our riders, and especially with that little pause in action that we had, everybody's excited to be here.
Definitely. I mean, last year, Simple Sessions 20th anniversary, but you've been at a bunch of Simple Sessions now, right? Can you talk to us about kind of that history of you being here at this contest?
Yeah, so Simple Session is one of the most premier events in all of action sports. It started as a grassroots event 21 years ago, and it's grown into one of the largest events in action sports. The great thing is, every year, this is kind of the kickoff for the entire season for riders. So last year in 2020, as you could see some of the highlights, not only of last year, but throughout the entire Simple Session history, riders came and we were able to actually have the event. And right after that, essentially, pandemonium broke loose and the pandemic happened. So riders did get to experience 2020, and then everybody collectively went home, and a year and a half later, here we are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the difference that we're going to see this year is that this is, of course, a street contest. You see in that footage there, the big box jumps, the big hips that people are hitting. This is a bit more of a smaller, more intimate course, and we're going to check out a course preview right now. Welcome to the Simple Session 2021 course. It's been designed once again by the legendary Nate West. So we've got Tom Shah, Felix Prangenberg with us, and they're going to take us around some of their favourite obstacles out around the park. How good does that course look? And the amazing thing as well, that the skaters and BMXers out there riding together, having a great time. That's kind of what Simple Session's all about, right?
Yeah, it's about the lifestyle, the community, everybody coming together, and you really see that on our course preview. Now, you mentioned the word intimate, and that's what I want to focus on here. Even though we had to have some COVID restrictions and guidelines, we did go a little smaller, but we definitely didn't skimp on quality. This course was designed by Nate Wessel, and it allows a lot of opportunities for riders to get creative out there. You did mention in years past we had a park and a street event, but this is going to focus a little bit more on street.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those guys out there are street rippers, and one of them is Courage Adams. He's down with a third member of our team right now, Tuli Yevstigneyev.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Daryl. What an absolute joy it is to be back here at Simple Session BMX Finals. And I have Courage Adams with me, who qualified first yesterday for the finals. Courage, you're known for pulling some insane lanes in your competitions. What is the obstacle we should keep our eye on during this competition?
I think the one like down there, like the huge box, the huge ledge. I'm going to try to do like a nose wheelie. It's super scary and it's super high, and let's see how it goes.
What else can we expect from you in the finals?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I would like to add more tricks to my line, my run. And depends how everything goes. I will see and decide.
Thank you so much, and good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you. So good to be here.
Amazing. Courage Adams ready to go today, but there has been a slight switch up with some of the riders out there today, right, Daryl?
Yeah, so yesterday we had our qualifier. We had about 30 riders out in the field, and we took the top 15 to the finals today. Our top 3 finishers were Alex Donnachie, Felix Prangenberg, and Courage Adams. Unfortunately, right before the event, Felix Prangenberg has an injury that was acting up, and also same with Juri Blabel, so they're not going to be entering into the finals. But that means 2 other riders who we haven't heard of or seen in Simple Session before, Turkey's Bora Altintas and Finland's Joona Peijari, are going to wind up entering, and hopefully that opens a door and some opportunity for some new blood and new faces here at Simple Session.
Yeah, that is a really exciting point, isn't it? That Simple Session does kick off the career of a lot of riders, right? For many riders, Simple Session was their first kind of taste of the big stage, right?
Yeah, that's the thing about this event. We really celebrate all styles of riding at Simple Session, and it's an opportunity for riders to come and they can get put on an international platform, and it really does kick off riders' careers, where maybe then they'll be invited to some of the other competitions in the world. Or we also have a lot of the industry sponsors watching the event, and if they see a rider's style or something they like, they might score themselves a sweet ride.
I think that's it. It's for European riders to kind of collide with those guys from America, from the rest of the world. You know, it's that chance to be on a big stage. But speaking of a big stage, you, as a viewer, have a chance today to have your viewer's choice, sponsored by Visit Estonia. Thank you very much to Visit Estonia for that. There is a QR code on your screen right now. You just have to give that as app with your phone, and you will have the chance then to give 3 votes to riders in the contest today. So basically you can give it to one rider, you can give it to multiple riders, whatever you're feeling, and yeah, it will basically give someone the chance to kind of get that, almost it's that viewer, it's like, you know, a bit more appreciation. But as a viewer, you will essentially win yourself, potentially one viewer will be winning themselves a 4-night stay in Tallinn, courtesy of Visit Estonia. So yeah, you absolutely want to get involved in this because you could win too. But really excited to say, out in Estonia, there's so much going on, and we're going to take a little look at what Tallinn is like out and about.
I feel like I've been to Simple Session maybe like 5 or 6 times. Something like that. I've been telling people 5 or 6. So, oh man, it's just chaos. You know, everyone from all around the world coming here, like people I haven't seen in pretty much a year, because everyone always comes to this event. So, just hanging out with all the pros is amazing. Meeting new people, you know, hanging out with the skaters. Everyone just, I don't know, the energy is up for sure. And the party speaks it. You know, the riding speaks it.
I've been here like for 6 years since I live in Madrid. And yeah, all my experience was really good. I mean, the form of the competition and staying here, visiting Estonia is always good. Yeah, this year is a bit different, so let's see how it goes. Break was super big and long. Being here with everyone together back again is really special and really good, and it's something that I really appreciate.
I got some tricks up my sleeve. I don't know. There's some pretty crazy. There's some crazy things you can do that aren't really usually my style. I don't know. You'll see.
All the course and all the rails, they are huge than years before, and also it's a bit hard to connect like the lines. But I think it's gonna be fun. I think as from tomorrow that we will start with the first practice, I think it's gonna be cool.
It's definitely more street based. Like all like the pillars make it look amazing, you know. I actually thought it was gonna be way smaller when I saw the photos, because you don't have the background to compare it to. And when you get there, it's sick. Like it lives up to a simple session course for sure.
I don't know. I would really like to do well my run and ride well, because years back in the days I used to get like a bit mad with my rounds because I like to do different stuff. I don't like doing the same stuff. But it's fine. I think I just want to do my best and go back home happy and peaceful.
Courage Adams and Reed Stark, they're checking out what Tallinn has to offer. They're both in the final, but it's time to find out who our top 15 are in the BMX finals today. It's Simple Session 2021. Daryl's down on the park now.
Go ahead. Let's go again. That was just a test. You guys are not ready yet. What I'd like to ask you one more time, he came all the way from Turkey. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, the Red Bull rider, Bora Altintas!
Your second rider, 24 years old from Finland, doing it for Stone Street, Joona Peijari!
You keep that noise going and those hands clap together for the Ukrainian rider, 22 years old, rider for BSD, Andriy Podoba.
Your fourth rider, 26 years old, from the United States, doing it for King BMX, Hobie Doan!
And this next handsome gentleman on the right-hand side, we're keeping him in the USA, representing California. Make some noise for the San Diegan rider, Parker Heath.
Our sixth rider, 31 years old, from the United Kingdom, doing it for Cult Crew, Alex Kennedy!
One of the most easiest, original, and unique riders, coming all the way from Cordoba in Argentina. Make some noise for Gaspar Guendulain.
Your eighth rider, 23 years old, from Germany, sponsored by Shadow, Miguel Smajli!
An absolute powerhouse of a human being. You know him from the Federal FTS video. Please welcome, from the United Kingdom, Jarvis.
10th rider, 27 years old from France, sponsored by Federal Bikes, Andriy Perrin.
We are keeping it in the Federal family. Representing Frankfurt in Germany, riding for Red Bull in vans, please welcome the Simple Session regular, Bruno Hoffmann.
Our next rider is a Simple Session favorite, 28 years old from Minneapolis, United States, doing it for BSD, Reed Stark.
All the way over the Pacific Ocean from Huntington Beach in California, representing Odyssey Sunday and Red Bull. Please let me hear it for Broc Raiford.
Our next rider, 27 years old from Scotland, riding for BSD, Donnachie.
Ladies and gentlemen, please meet your number one qualifier from Madrid in España, originally from Nigeria. Make some noise to Red Bull rider, Courage Adams! Boys and girls, you keep that noise going. Unfortunately, we have two riders injured. They qualified for finals, but unfortunately...
So the stage is set. We've got all 15 riders ready and raring to go for the BMX finals here at Simple Session 2021. We've got 2 runs that they're going to be hitting up. Best run counts. So if they throw away one, they've always got a second, or if they get their first run nailed, they can absolutely go for it in their second run. So it's a great format that's out there today. If you want to get involved, of course, in the conversation, if you want to chat to us whilst we're commentating, get involved in the chat. The hashtag on Twitter is Simple Session 21. Can Courage Adams hold on to it and take the lead, take the win here at Simple Session 21 today? We'll find out in a moment's time. We'll be right back with the finals after this.
They are out there, waiting to be discovered. Some of them are big, and some of them are small. But that's the thing with ideas. They don't just come to you. To find them, you have to move. Kia, movement that inspires.
Yeah. What is you rapping about? You said that you got a house in the bands. What is you rapping about? You said you swallowing all of these ends. What is you rapping about? Oh, you got fans all over your ass. What is you rapping about? You said you fucking a bitch up in France. What is you rapping about? Nigga, you think you a boss? Give me the lip, the strip, stick to the script. I got your dick on a stick. He gave me 2 lips, so I just call quits quick. Don't you pretend that you giving a shit. I need percentage or I'ma get sick. Don't you try messing around with my clique. This shit is vintage, you know that it's rich. Ooh.
Yes, welcome back to Simple Session 2021. It is just about time, almost, to get the BMX finals underway here in the Põhjala factory in Tallinn, Estonia. It's James Ruffle back with you. Daryl now in the booth with me as well. We are ready to get going with the riding today. It's going to be a good contest, right? We know it.
Yeah, James, the energy's exciting. We're not in our typical setup of our Saku Arena hall, but we're in this repurposed factory, and it's really fun vibe here. There's new life brought to the building, and you can feel that with this course that was designed by Nate Wessel. As we get ready for our first rider to drop in, that's Bora Altintas. He was a last-minute addition to the finals because, unfortunately, Felix Prenberg wasn't able to ride, so we went with our 16th and 17th place finishers, and now they're in the finals. One thing I want to note, Simple Session has been known to really help make careers for a lot of riders, and if somebody's able to make it into the finals, it could definitely open up new opportunities. So it's exciting, and as I say that, we actually had Bora Altintas last year in Simple Session 20, and that's where he scored that Red Bull sponsorship. So the fact that Red Bull caught eyes of him at the event, that really shows there's an opportunity, but the fact that we haven't had an event for the last year and a half, he hasn't been able to cement his name in BMX as far as the competition circuit goes. All right, 60 seconds have started. Bar spin to ice pick coming down. You saw that he grabbed the handlebars and slid on his rear peg down that A-frame rail.
Yeah, absolutely, and opened up as well. Super quick fire. We were saying it in the skate earlier. The guys that come out and they go bang, 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 like trick, that 180 whip, and then the bar back down the Euro as well. Like, absolutely crazy.
Yeah, bar spin to wall ride. So the reason what you're talking about, packing the tricks in, a rider has 60 seconds on the clock, and the way it's going to work, they have 2 runs, and it's best run counts. So they have to utilize, nice 180 to 180 off, they have to utilize the entire time out there. The judges want to see them do unique tricks on this course, the way that they're able to adapt, and the way they can make combos work, all within that allotted time frame. If a rider winds up putting his foot down or having a crash, they can get back up and continue if they want to, but they will have a score that's deducted.
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing judges loving that full pull as well, and Bora making that happen. First run is what we were kind of talking about, you know, the fact that you've got 2 runs here, and if you get that first run nailed, you are chilling for your second run because you can up it from there, right? You aren't then like, oh man, I failed, like I bailed on my first run, I had a couple of falls. Like, Bora's put himself in a good spot with that one.
Yeah, James, that's a really good point. Since it is best run that counts, there might be a little bit of strategy for some riders. They might play with that risk first reward that we have so many times in BMX, where you could do a difficult trick like that 180 tail whip, where you saw he caught his pedals. Here's a look where he goes backwards. You see him looking off the side of the stage, and then gets a clean 180 off. Had a little bit of a nosedive right there, and that was smooth. And what you mentioned was that full pull down to the end of the 60-second clock, and when you're able to utilize the entire 60 seconds, the judges love seeing that, not only because it shows that you're not winded, but you have a full control of the course. And look at that, a 59.33 is going to be the score for Bora Altintas. So he's going to be our first rider on the scoreboard. That's going to kind of set the tone, and the max that a rider could beat is of 100.
Yeah, absolutely. A really good start for Bora, like kind of taking that opportunity that he's been gifted, unfortunately through those 2 injuries, but he's taking that chance and he's running with it. So big shouts to Bora for that one. Right, so coming in now, it's Joona Peijari.
Yeah, so Joona's a very strong rider from Finland. Finland, if you've never had an opportunity to go visit, it's actually just across the Baltic Sea from Estonia, so there's a strong connection. It's only a boat ride that maybe could take an hour and a half, or if you want to take a kind of party cruise that they have, you could do it in 10 hours or a nice overnight ride. The reason I talk about that, there's such a strong connection between these Eastern European countries, and a lot of times you'll have fans that will come here from Finland or Latvia and wind up cheering on, and you can hear that in the house. So 60 seconds started right there. We have Joona going with that 540 bunny hop on the wedge. That's a difficult thing to do because you don't have that steep transition, but you're seeing him utilize the street rail with that 360 nose bonk on the front peg.
Yeah, amazing as well to think that Joona, he broke his foot last year. He's coming off an injury and he's just gone, cool, like I'm straight back on my bike. Like that determination to just get back in and get straight back to a major contest when the world allowed. It's amazing to see.
Yeah, and if you're just tuning in right now, this is our BMX Street Final at Simple Session. Nose bonk coming down, our second rider in the heat. From Finland, double peg up that A-frame, looking for the line, 360, whoa, I stand corrected, 540, looked like a whirling dervish coming off the edge of that bank right there, so he's gonna wash out. But as we said, if a rider falls, they can get back up and work out the rest of their time. And there you go, a lucky grind coming down at the buzzer.
Man, those hubbers as well, they're seriously high. Like, I think it's all kind of relative with Simple Session because everything at Simple Session is always big. If you've been to Simple Session a few times, you know, like when you turn up, everything's going to be massive. And it's hearing all the BMXers saying, these rails are tall, these hubbers are tall, you know? So yeah, super ballsy to be throwing that kind of stuff around.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to note because we do know that there's a lot of people getting introduced to BMX and skateboarding for their first time here at Simple Session. So what James is talking about, the higher a rail is, the more strength that you need to wind up hopping onto it, and it's a little bit more difficult because what we talked about is that ratio that you really got to balance, right? It's like risk to reward, and if the rail's higher, can you do a technical trick onto it? And right there we saw Joona end his run with that lucky grind coming down. So that's a 46 right there for his first run. He's going to currently be sitting in second place, but we still have 13 more riders to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that fall's slightly hurting him there, so he's going to hope that he can clean that one up slightly. But we're going to hand over now to Andriy Podoba, coming out of the Ukraine, doing it for Skill Dash BMX. And this is his third Simple Session in 2020, when Simple Session was basically one of the last contests in the calendar. Placed 14th in BMX Street.
Yeah, I got to give all the riders and also our fans and event organizers so much credit for making Simple Session happen. There's so many challenges in the world. That's why we're not in the Saku Arena, because we wanted to make sure that we were able to do all safety guidelines. Unfortunately, going down right there, getting super tech on the rail. You saw that his bike actually flew about 25 feet across the park, but you could hear our fans cheering him on, getting the energy as he's going for a backwards, looked like a 180 into a 360 fakie tail whip, but working the clock with 35 seconds to go.
Yeah, this is realistically, it's probably going to be a throwaway for him, but this is a good chance to kind of shake those nerves off, right? You've got that final 30 seconds just to kind of get your eye in, get those nerves out of the way, get those butterflies out, and kind of get back to it.
Yeah, super technical right there. Nollie 180 with the bar spin. It was called the Nollie. Having some difficulty with the tail whip. But it was called that Nollie because he pressed on the front wheel to come off, when traditionally if you were to hop off the ground in a bunny hop, you wind up lifting the front wheel up first and then the rear tire. Feeble grind coming down, 180 really smooth. All right, so look, he had some difficulty out there. Had a couple of crashes, but he put a lot of tricks in the entire 60 seconds, and that's got to count for something. He's going to have a lot of room to work with for run number 2, where he can wind up cleaning that up, but there were a lot of technical tricks in a short amount of time. Let's take a look right here as we can see that tail whip coming around. That was an opposite direction tail whip where he kicked it with his front foot. Very cool foot plant 360 where he actually pressed on the front wheel first coming up. And here's a look. You see that he drops into the double tire. There's that Nollie nose press 180 with the bar spin. You see he has no brakes on his bike, and he's able to wind up 180ing it nice and clean.
That is something to note, right? Like some of the guys, a little bit later on, the speed they're hitting, they're also going to use those transition features, riding completely brakeless too. It's pretty fearless riding.
So we're taking a look right there. There's our 4 judges. We have Bart de Jong, Marcus Wilkie, Brian Kaczynski, and Tom Sillens. Those are 4 riders who are legends of the sport. Not only are they talented riders who have competed at Simple Session or been involved with it from the start, but they all have jobs within the industry. Bart de Jong was very instrumental in helping BMX get into the Olympics. Marcus Wilkie was actually a silver medalist at X Games in 2000, helps run Freedom Magazine. Brian Kaczynski, super talented rider and ripper, and Tom Sillens helps make the Latvia scene happen. So look at that, he's going to get a 50.33, so the scores are still coming in as we are working through the pack, and our next rider is going to be Hobie Doan.
Yeah, coming out of Oregon, Hobie Doan, tight with Dave Gravett, one of the skaters that also rides. And yeah, was absolutely tearing it yesterday, making his way through. He's also quite into kendama as well, which if you come to Simple Session, you know is a big thing out here. Reed Stark, a wizard of a kendama.
Here we go, pegs up. You saw that he bonked the rail and then going backwards with the crooked grind. So BMX street riding has gotten so technical, and the name of the game is going to be consistency out here, because the tricks that riders do not only are burly, like that gap to ice pick that Hobie just threw down, but you sometimes will see 5, 6, 7, 8 tricks put into one, and they can be connected or linked together with a manual. That's where a rider balances on their front wheel or back wheel, like we're seeing there from Hobie. So he got that manual across the stage, landed in a feeble grind, and 360'd out.
Yeah, well known for his pop as well, Hobie Doan. Taking that one over onto the A-frame rail. Yeah, the foot jam on the quarter as well.
That toothpick where his rear end wound up hanging over the A-frame was really great style. You saw he had that nosedive. So working the clock. He's got that ice pick coming down. You saw that he was able to jump into the wedge right there. I think he was trying to maybe try to go the distance. And then wrapping it up with a very big bunny hop on the outside of that stage, falling on the 180. But look at it, you can just tell Hobie's loving it, having a great time out here.
Yeah, again, we were talking about that hubber earlier. Like, I'm 6'2", right? And I was stood at the bottom of that hubber, and it comes up to my waist. So to pop up, to double peg on that, to then pull the 180 out, like, wow, absolutely incredible. We do have the third member of our team, though, Tulia Yevstignev, and she is down chained to the guys now. Taking a look briefly beforehand, though, at this set of replays from Hobie's run.
Yeah, and Hobie has such a nice finesse there. He's kicking the tail whip around. You saw the way that his feet were positioned. And take a look at the manual. That's what we talk about, linking the runs together in the tricks. Lands in a feeble grind, pops a 360 coming off. Hobie's got 4 pegs, so he definitely does things both sides, regular, opposite. And there was a ice pick on his traditional side. Look at the balance point. It's called an ice pick because it's rear peg, and it's difficult because you have to find that sweet spot. And he's able to get through the first kink of the handrail, not down the second part, but he was able to land in the wedge, which I give him credit for.
Yeah, incredible. And Hobie is chatting to Yuli now.
Hobie, well, what a run. Are you happy with it?
No, but I had a good time, so can't complain.
What will you change in a second run?
I'm gonna try to not fall on tricks next time. I think that'll do me some justice at this event.
What is the favorite part of this course for you?
My favorite part of the course is the people around it. I'm just stoked to be here with all my friends. I'm psyched. Let's go.
What a good answer, and good luck in the second run.
Tuli there, hanging out with Hobie Doan. He's having a good time. He's enjoying his time out here in Estonia. And we're going to fire over now to Parker Heath, 23, coming out of San Diego, California.
Yeah, Parker is a really talented rider. He's traditionally known maybe more as a park rider because he's got the ability to go fast on big transitions, and it's a little more of his specialty. He is a very well-rounded rider, though, so it's exciting to see him on the street course. So watching what he might do here is really interesting. Riders going to have a different approach on the course, and that's what's going to separate each one of their runs. So you're seeing Parker, he actually asked a few of our filmers and photographers to move out of the way because he goes fast. We said he works the transitions, setting up with some speed here. Yo, big transfer with that suicide no-hander. That's when you pinch the seat with the knees and take the hands off. It keeps the front end of the bike up. There was a gap to X-up grind. And we're already seeing Parker utilize the course back and forth with a lot of momentum. He looks very comfortable on the transitions, throws down a 540, coming back with the double peg grind.
I mean, Darrow, it's a really good question to ask, actually, because the guys that do mix it up on the transition, of course, it's a street contest, but when you throw a 5 on a quarter like that, like, what does that do for your score?
Yeah, I mean, when you're able to utilize and adapt, we saw that Parker did the 540 on the quarter pipe. We saw riders early do them on the wedge. It's all about keeping the momentum and how you can throw that in. And Parker grinded up the rail and also down. So Parker is representing GT out here as he did a dark side toothpick. That means he hit his front peg. It's very hard to find on that coping as opposed to the outer part with his front peg. So Parker right there, big smile on his face, throwing his arms up. The crowd out here, I have to say, what we lack in numbers, we definitely make up for with support and love. It's just, you can hear them really roaring throughout this old factory building, breathing new life into it.
Yeah, he was in one of the earlier heats yesterday and really just, you know, took the course, like took the bull by the horns. He just absolutely came out swinging yesterday and the crowd loved it.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about with Parker's riding. He was able to use that park background that he has, high speed X-up grind all the way up, and he looked for a variation coming out with that no-hander. There was a technical front peg grind into the back peg. It's a toothpick to an ice pick. Both hard to do because you have to find your balanced positions, which makes it harder than, let's say, doing a traditional double peg grind. So Parker's going to wait for his score coming in from our 4 judges. It's such a difficult thing for them to put a numeric value to riding because they have to not only determine what score the rider's going to get, but how does that sit with the 14 other riders on the course with both of their runs. So look at that, Parker right there, 56. He's going to currently be sitting in that second place spot. So look at that, the smile getting a little bit bigger from Parker after run number 1.
Absolutely. Now we're throwing over to the UK for this guy who's no stranger to a simple session. It's AK himself.
Yeah, Alex Kennedy. Believe it or not, he's actually our veteran rider out here at just 31 years of age. He's our oldest competitor in our finals. And Alex has a lot of experience, mainly riding in the streets. He's not necessarily known as a contest rider, and Simple Session is one of the only events that he'll actually come out to do in recent years, and it's a treat to watch him ride. He really has a big bag of tricks as he double pegs up, looking for the manual, double peg the rail to a 180 out. Bam! That was a huge combination, and the way he 180'd was the hard way off because he turned away from the rail as opposed to turning into it.
One of the most mellow guys off his bike as well, but when he gets on, when he's on that park, he's absolutely fire.
Yeah, he's definitely a rider that likes to be grounded when he's off his bike. Focus is big on well-being, meditation. Oh, he was meditating right there as he wound up getting caught in that grind. But yeah, he really puts a big emphasis on his own personal nutrition as well. Yes, crooked backwards, trying to go crooked forward. So Alex Kennedy has 7 seconds. Maybe he could throw something in before that buzzer. Looks like he's going to take another attempt right here. And he's going to do a double peg to, I believe that was a crooked coming down. We're going to maybe see a replay on that. But Alex Kennedy trying to come back from that crash right there.
Showing, though, that all the ingredients of the recipe are there, right? He's got it all. If he can just get it together in his second run, he's going to put a little bit more pressure on himself with those falls. But if he can make it happen, that's going to be a good score.
Yeah, so what you're talking about, James, big combinations like that 180 to backwards double peg grind. But look at this. So he had the double peg up, the manual is 2, the double peg down is 3, and the 180 is 4 tricks in a row. Here's another look on the other side, coming down with that 180. Again, I said it was a hard 180 because he winds up rotating out and away from the rail as opposed to turning into it. So it's a little bit more difficult when you do that, especially when you're going on a downhill incline and your speed and momentum wants to throw you into the ground.
Amazing. I believe as well, Tuli Yevstignev is down with Alex Kennedy now.
Alex, thank you for joining us for a little interview. I mean, you're known for pulling some crazy combinations. And tell us, what were you doing there on the course right now?
I did switch 180 crook to half cab crook. Missed it a little bit, but yeah, it's hard in competitions to pull more technical tricks. But it's great being out here, and thanks everybody.
So you are known for having a crazy, nice, like a little prep work for competitions. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm into nutrition and health and meditation. I don't know. When I first started riding competitions, I was always nervous, so I needed something just to make myself calm, and yeah, happy with this stuff.
And good luck to you on your second run.
Thank you, thank you.
Funny that he kind of says there, though, he almost hints at the fact that, like, used to being out, like, filming video parts and going for the hardest tricks, I've almost got to work out what I can do on this course, like, first go in a run.
Yeah, I think you always got to balance that risk-reward ratio, right? So look at that, rewarded with a 58.33. He's going to get second place. And one thing I want to note, he said it was a switch crook right there that went down the rail. So those little finesses and details, even if we don't pick up on them from our perspective on the course, we got the 4 judges who are going to make sure their 8 eyeballs get all the proper calls for the tricks.
Absolutely. Well, we're heading to Argentina now with Gaspar Guendulain.
Yeah, Gaspar Guendulain is definitely a name to know if you haven't had a chance to see this Argentinian rider ever take to a course. He is definitely going to be making a name for himself throughout the future of his BMX career. So talented. It's really interesting to see how consistent he is, too. He's definitely a rider who will work the front or back wheel, and there's we go. Front wheel, nose manual down with the 180 off that hubba ledge.
Yeah, I had the privilege
so good
of watching Gaspar at Simple Summer Session in 2018, and he just absolutely tore it, man. So tech.
Yeah, really works the finesse of that bike. You see right there, he has no brakes on his bike, and he's able to find that balance point on his front end, and he hops over to crank arm slide coming down with his rear end right over that A-frame rail.
Again, really kind of can't stress enough just how big that A-frame rail is as well. That is a big old gap to hit.
Yeah, so if you're a rider out there and you want to kind of know what height we're talking about, that A-frame's about handlebar height. So you're talking about 36 inches off, and there's a flare. So we're seeing him work a little bit of that park magic out there and then fire back with a street combination. Toothpick hanger, crank arm slide to 180 fakie right there as he wraps up his 60 seconds on run number 1.
Again, it's those kind of little touches that the judges are going to love, just being able to throw in that flare. It's like, yes, it's a street contest, but the fact that in between all those street moves, you are just throwing in flares on the court, like that's definitely going to score so well. Right, let's take a look at these replays.
Yeah, so look at that. Putting up double tires on our GT BMX rail coming up, and there's that nose press to the 180. You got to find your balance point, but this really shows his bike control. Backwards with the fakie bar spin, lands smooth, and then just 180s right out. You can see the way he's able to cruise backwards without having his cranks engaged. That's because he has a free coaster on his back wheel as opposed to a traditional freewheel. We took the look at that Bluetooth nose stall where he doesn't have the front pegs, and then that was one of the bigger moves of his course and his run, that over to crank arm slide down. And he's showing you Visit Estonia flare right there on our quarter pipe.
Yeah, absolutely killer run for Gaspar. He's for sure going to be happy with that, and we are going to check out where that puts him in the standings right now. He goes to first with a 77 deads. Gaspar's going to be stoked with that. That's an absolutely great showing for his first run.
Yeah, you see him getting the support out there. There's Reed Stark and Broc Raiford, who have yet to ride.
And we're going to head now to Miguel Smajli, coming out of Germany, doing it for Shadow. Just 23 years old.
Yeah, Miguel, an awesome rider from Germany. As you mentioned, he is riding for Shadow, also for Sabrosa. I know our web feed and TV all across the world. So the boys down in Orlando, Florida, where Sabrosa and Shadow are located. Ron Bonner, Brian Scher are cheering on their team rider right now. That's the cool thing about Simple Session. Oh!
Coming unstuck out the gate.
Let's see, maybe the crowd could hype him back on the bike right here. Maybe he just shook off some of the butterflies on that first crash, and now he has 47 seconds to work with. Oh, there you go. I believe that was a 180 bar spin fakie and then did a 540 cab out.
Potentially just those kind of first run nerves, just missing the catch of the bars. And then head back around with that 180 whip on the quarter.
You saw he wound up bonking on the upright of that rail and then threw a bar spin. 540 with the bar spin. All right, transferring from the quarter to the wedge. 360 threading the needle through the 2 A-frame rails.
Lots of guys liking those threes to flat. Good scope to send. A big gap.
Whoa! Okay. Where's he going? Yes! Oh, man, we spoke too soon right there. Talk about some back wheel boogie action. Wound up getting onto that main stage, hopping up the stairs on the levels, found his back wheel, whipping around, rotating, coming off the stage, and then just dumping right down to the side. But let's take a look. When it did go right, there was the 180 bar spin. You saw him go backwards with that 540 cab coming out. Shout out to New York City rider Edwin De La Rosa, who was one of the first riders to do that way back in the day. Pole jam up with the bar spin, and then he said, I'm not done yet. I'm going to grab this ice pick down, switching my feet right there.
Those are the little intricate details as well that the judges are absolutely watching like hawks for.
Yeah, and you can actually see he does go different stance with his feet. Some riders traditionally will say, hey, I ride left foot forward or right foot forward. But honestly, in this day and age, it's almost so challenging to call anything because riders like we see right there on screen, Felix Prenenberg, who is unfortunately not able to compete. He's our 2-time Simple Session winner in 2019 and 2020. He doesn't even technically have a foot that he likes to ride forward. It's in this day and age, it's almost like in skating, James, where Bob Burnquist came on the scene and it was like, switch? What is that? From here on out, you got to know how to do both, and it's almost weird to call that for a skater in 2021,
yeah,
right?
For sure.
So that's what we're seeing in a 54.16, so that's going to put Miguel in 6th place currently.
Cool, so he's going to be okay with that. I mean, bailing your opening trick, that's never going to do great things for your score, but really kind of got it together, pulled it back, got some good things down, so it's all to kind of play for in his second run. Joe Jarvis coming in. I was chatting to him, we chat about skating. Actually, Joe was saying that, he's from Manchester, and he was really influenced by a lot of the legendary skaters in Manchester when he was growing up, and still kind of gets to ride with a lot of those guys.
Yeah, that's always cool, that crossover element, right? If you're in a certain city and it's interesting to hear, because if you're out on the streets, most of the time you're hanging out and there's that crossover between riders. Look at this, starting things off. Big combo, beanie going, flying right there. Joe Jarvis, double peg on our pole jam to vert wall.
100%, one of the crowd favorites yesterday as well.
Yeah, Joe Jarvis doing it for Federal Bikes. We actually have Stu Dawkins and Colin from Federal cheering on their pro rider as he does a hang 5 to whiplash across the stage, charging with speed and a 360 to flat.
Yeah, that's the 360 to flat we were talking about. Lots of guys kind of liking that gap, the scope just to head Mach 10 at that pyramid and just absolutely send it.
Now, James, something I want to note, look at Joe Jarvis's speed, right? He'd been able to pick it up where he had that 360 about halfway through his run, and right now he's getting technical as he winds up doing that hang 5, and again, having that rear end whiplash around, getting to pedals. He is psyched, and right now the crowd is roaring in appreciation for Joe Jarvis.
He was so stoked because he did that at the end of his qualifiers run yesterday, and I was chatting to him and he was saying, man, it's so scary just throwing it off that, because it's like, it's just full commitment. That bike is coming around the wrong way for him and you're just jumping at those pedals.
Yeah, and Jarvis in 2020 actually got 6th place in our Simple Session final, so I know he'd love to move up the ladder and get in one of those podium positions. And right here, this run was extremely consistent. So we're taking a look. There's that hang 5 balance point where his other leg is being used for that balance position while his left leg is on the peg. And here's a look at the double peg up with the 180. And then he was able to actually set up to have this bunny hop bar spin coming down. So Jarvis really worked the course, and then have a technical combination like this at the end of his run where he has, again, that hang 5 with the whiplash off, the 4-foot drop on the stage, right to pedals. You could tell Joe Jarvis is psyched, and you can hear the crowd showing their appreciation.
He says that one's scary, but that one absolutely just looking flawless, and he is here to chat to Thule right now.
Joe, I mean, that was an absolute power run. Wow. I think we all wonder, do you plan your runs or you just go with it?
I don't know. I'm never normally sober enough to plan a run, I guess. So I just work with it. It's just the same as riding your bike, you know, just a bit more nervous, I guess.
Continuing on that vibe, what is the Simple Session party scene? Where have you been?
It's absurd. Where have I been, did you say, sorry? Where have I been? I've been in the back of the skate park with a 20-pack.
I mean, okay, that's that then. Well, continue. Looks like it's working, so keep on the good work.
Oh yeah, cheers everyone. Peace.
If that's what makes it work, right? If that's what gets the job done.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Jarvis showing you how much fun everybody has here, not only on their bike. Look at that, a 63.66, so he's going to move up into that second place spot. But Jarvis really highlighting how much fun can be had here at Simple Session off your bike as well.
Yeah, 100%. We're going to throw now to Andriy Perrin. Someone that just absolutely slays it. A quieter kind of character on the course, but just absolutely tears when he's on.
Yeah, I feel like, and I'm going to say this in the most respectful way possible, I feel like Andriy Perrin is maybe one of the most underrated street riders out there. People that know are amazed by him. He had a part in his federal video that came out last year that was unreal, but as you said, he's a little bit reserved when he actually is on the competition scene, and he is so good. So let's take a look also at his foot pedal position, because right there, that was left foot forward, and he's another rider who will switch his foot position. So Perrin right now, if he could be consistent out here, he could definitely be a rider that we could see in top podium positions.
Yeah, and Anthony, he took 7th last year at Simple Session 2020, and he's qualified in 6th today, so if he can up that, he'll be a very happy man, I'm sure.
Double tire, bar spin off. All right, 20 seconds to go. He's going to try to work some magic. Getting that double peg up, 180 bar spin, coming down with the ice pick. Having some difficulty there. So I believe that ice pick was on his opposite side. And again, if you're viewing at home and you're saying, hey, why aren't they fully calling opposite or regular? Riders don't really have one these days. There's a legendary street rider, Bob Skirbo. You guys know him. He made all the animal videos. He does Scapegoat. Really great guy, pioneer in street. He likes to almost say it's something front side or back side in a way, like in skating, are you turning into it or out? It hasn't been fully adapted, but it's almost a good way to say it because, again, almost every rider now, their foot stance will change. So when we say if something is a different foot stance, that's if your foot's normally left foot forward and then you switch to right foot forward. It's almost like doing a completely different trick. Same goes if you do something on your left side or your right side.
For sure. He just won as well out in Ukraine. Did you see that contest?
Yeah, so like we said, Andriy Perrin may be one of the most underrated riders, but he's already off to a great start in 2021. There was an event last weekend in Kiev. It's the Double Triple Fest. He went last weekend and got top place on the podium, so hopefully that he can wind up doing the same here. So let's take a look at our current standings.
Yeah, Gaspar holding it down at the top, 77. We've got Joe Jarvis in second, drinking that 20-pack to get him up there. We got Altintas as well, AK in fourth, and then we've got, Heath, Parker Heath in fifth, and Hobie Doan over in sixth with that 55. So we're going to see where we slot in there.
Yeah, and if Joe Jarvis keeps it up, I mean, right now he's currently sitting in that second place spot. Those might become celebratory beers, right?
Yeah, right.
They might go from pre-party to celebratory. We will see. All right, so Andriy Perrin, all right, is 61 even. So that means he's going to move into that third place spot right there. So you can see the double thumbs up. And as you talked about, you get that first run out of the way, you maybe work a little bit of nerves out, and we'll see another attempt at the course. Taking a look at our fans out there, you do see some cans. We actually have a Simple Session signature beer just made for the event. So some of the riders there, you actually can see they got their smartphones out. They're putting the hashtag Simple Session or Simple Session 21 as we get ready for our next rider to take course.
Now he's an absolute crowd favorite. Bruno Hoffmann, you heard how wild the crowd went when you were announcing the names. They just love him.
Yeah, and Bruno Hoffmann was one of those riders when he was 14 years old. He grew up in the magazines. Right now he's currently 28, but for that entire time he's helped progress and push the sport of BMX forward. I know all of our core riders out there are watching and going, man, Bruno has been relentless and just has not stopped for his entire career, and we're seeing him already off to a solid start with the first 20 seconds down. Yeah, nice gap over there, grabbing that front peg on his opposite side and then drifting that back end over. But already, as I say that, Bruno switched his feet opposite direction on that one, or switch stance, I should say.
Coming back through for this long driveway section. This rail's a lot of fun. Just double pegging through. Heading over. Tire tap up on the vert wall.
Ooh, all right, over, grabbing that front peg, and then you just see he's able to bring his back end afterwards, following on down. Hoffmann right now, 6 seconds to go. All right, nicely done. That's the creativity we want to see. He wound up hitting his tires and almost doing a wall jam off that hubba. It's got a slight little angle right there, and then gets the 180 spin. What makes that so difficult is that your momentum changes, and if you hit it too hard, it's actually going to stop your 180, and it will throw you to the ground, but Hoffmann was able to keep the spin going.
Yeah, heading up the rail there as well. Like we say, those rails, no joke to be jumping up onto.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about them being about handlebar height, so you got to pretty much put almost a 3-foot hop on. There's a look at a perfect 180 grind going down. As we talked about, Hoffmann, right foot forward, double peg up across that little A-frame channel, coming down with the crooked grind. The crooked is when you put one peg on one side of the rail and one on the other. And here's a look, hopping over on his non-traditional side with that toothpick and then the back end. And there you go, bonking both wheels for that boost off the side of the hubba.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's like we were saying in the build-up to this. Like, when you look at this park, I guess it looks like it goes straight back and forth, but the fact that you can kind of just tear it up and find those slightly unconventional lines is really solid. You're seeing on screen as well the QR code for the Visit Estonia viewer's choice. So if you want to get involved in that, remember, like we said, you can obviously vote for the rider that you have enjoyed the most, or you've got 3 votes so you can distribute it across. But equally, if you get involved in that, you could win yourself a 4-night stay in Tallinn. So definitely get involved. Bruno Hoffmann there, putting himself up into 2nd place. He'll be cool with that. Looking to step it up in his 2nd run.
All right, now you're going to hear the crowd get a little bit louder because our next rider from the U.S. has made a name for himself here in Tallinn, Estonia. He's always a favorite because he's got the smile plastered on his face, whether it's on the course or it's on the dance floor, and he's actually going to be DJing later tonight. I'm talking about Reed Stark.
Yeah, we talk about those lines. It's so fitting that Reed comes in. He has some of the most unconventional lines around this park, like riding under this beam here, squatting through.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's why right now we're seeing him clear the course, because look at it, he's shot out of a cannon already, double peg up into that vert wall. You see that he's actually the fastest rider on the course so far. Double tire up and he goes under the beam. Yes, that was really creative. We haven't seen any rider take that and utilize that part.
This is exactly what I mean. You look at this park and you go, okay, back and forth, back and forth. No, Reed Stark goes where he wants and does what he wants.
Now, James, I want to watch Reed's speed. It was really fast for the first 30 seconds, and if he can keep that momentum and even build his speed in the second half, that's really going to favor well, because it's easy to get lost on the course. Your energy can go down, but Reed, you saw him pump back up the vert wall as he hops over with the cool transfer where he's able to grab that transition. Whoa! All right. I believe that was a double peg up the rail, rode up the vert wall, and then double peg back down that pole jam.
That's full commitment coming back down like that as well. You don't want to be sending yourself into the floor from there. Reed's coming out with a huge first run.
Yeah, this was massive. James, this run had it all. Look, you can tell Reed's excited. He's tired, he's gassed out, he's getting the support from the other riders. But this run really had it all. We talked about the speed, we talked about the unique lines. He had some big gap to grinds, and he kept his momentum for the entire 60 seconds out there. So it's going to be interesting to see what the numeric value is. As we said, there's 4 judges, and the best score you could get is 100. But look at this wall ride as he ducks right under. Reed's a tall rider. He's almost 6'4", so he has to duck under that beam so that he doesn't hit it. There you can see he balances on his rear peg. That's an ice pick stall on that sub rail. Here's a look at that Smith grind, but first he did a wally up with his back wheel. No brakes on Reed's bike, but he finds that balance point, wedging his front tire. And here's the look. He goes up and then comes down. All right, I stand corrected. So he still rode up. You see how surprised he is, because first he landed in a Smith grind where his front tire his rear tire was on the rail and his front peg was on, and then he dropped down to a double peg. And here's a look at that big gap to Smith on the side of the stage. There is no coping at all. Big run for Reed.
So much distance into that Smith grind, and he's here to chat to Thule now.
Reed, I mean, I think you were one of the fastest riders on the course today. What do you think your top speed is while you're out there?
I have no clue. I couldn't say.
You know, you are now. Oh, look at the score!
Can't see it.
Well, you are no stranger to simple session. You've been here when we were at the bigger park. Today, the park is smaller. What is the difference for you when you're riding in this?
I think just the energy is a bit more condensed. I don't know, you feel the crowd more, and I don't know, it's more connective. I love it.
I think you didn't see the score. You took the lead.
Oh, shit. Damn.
Well, quickly turning... Pure emotion, right?
Purely, man, I'm exhausted. That was really fun.
I mean, Reed, you're such a multi-talent. You also have this little toy, the kendama toy. Do you want to show us your best trick?
Best trick? Oh, man, the pressure's on.
Nice! Woo!
It's all very Reed Stark today.
Ending on a high note.
Appreciate you.
Back to you guys then.
It is all very Reed Stark today. That's how his day is going. Reed coming in with the top score so far in the contest. And yeah, it seems to have caught him off guard slightly as well. It all just worked.
Yeah, 83.66 was Reed Stark's score. And it's funny how he was a little more nervous for the kendama than for his riding out there. Well, our next rider looking to take the course, he is the big rider, Broc Raiford. He's coming off a win from New York City, Dawn of the Streets. There was a course street riding session that took place a few weeks ago. Broc Raiford is such a talented rider who has massive hops. Let's see what he's going to do.
Huge to kick off his run. And another guy that comes in with so much speed as well, and just completely mixes it up.
Yeah, last year Broc Raiford got second place at Simple Session, so he's going to want to attempt to move up, and if anyone could take that top spot, it could be Raiford. Watch at the power. He's another one with Reed Stark. You can just see how he accelerates across the course. There you go, double peg up, 360 over the rail. Some said that's a mandatory Broc Raiford move. That's because not many other riders can do it. Bam! Raiford is on fire right there.
Like, Darryl, just explain to us, right, that double peg to 360 over, how hard is that?
You need so much strength. Your body, you have to be able to hop, and Broc Raiford actually has some of the biggest bunny hops in BMX, where he's able to utilize his upper body strength and really pull. In years past, we have done bunny hop competitions here in Tallinn, Estonia, and Raiford has cleared over a 4-foot bunny hop, which is 48 inches.
So crazy, getting that tooth hanger, and then just cruising through with the Manny. Wants something, this is for the crowd. We kind of missed what that was.
Yeah,
it was a 360 variation.
It was a little bit hard to see from our house, but I believe he might have threw the handlebars in, or he was just feeling out another spin. It's a very difficult rotation off that sub box because you have to thread the needle from that vert quarter pipe and still be able to find the transition. And it's a little bit more than a regular 360 where you wind up trying to find it and come in. Many highlights for the Sunday Bikes rider, Broc Raiford. That's what we were talking about. You see how we had to position his body on that rotation. But then here we got Broc double peg, high speed, and then he's able to 180 down, lands all the way to the flat bottom, but somehow Broc is able to just keep that high speed as he just spins over the handrail. Really smooth, hitting both tires at the same time. The Red Bull rider doing that double peg grind up, and you see how he has to put his weight so far over the handlebars in order to clear his back end over the rail. Here we're taking a look at that toothpick hanger coming down. Again, that's on his non-traditional side. And there's a look at the spin, I believe, at the end of his run right there. He didn't necessarily put a variation there, but James, I like the way you're thinking. Oh, we have a new leader.
Bang, there we go.
86 for Broc Raiford.
Broc Raiford taking it to the top. Broc, someone that was absolutely firing on all cylinders in qualifiers yesterday as well. Reed, He's got his competition. He's got his competition right here.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, each rider is going to have 2 runs to the course, and his best run counts, so it can be anyone's game until the last rider.
Absolutely. Alex Donnachie coming back in now, and he became the first Scottish athlete, he's a legend in the UK, to medal at X Games. And it wasn't just any medal, it was gold in BMX Street. So
yeah, that's such an unbelievable feat to do, to win an X Games gold medal. That's another extremely large event in action sports. And Alex Donnachie, what that really translates here at Simple Session is when the pressure is on, he can deliver. He's an extremely technical rider who puts together those combos. Last year, he got 3rd place at Simple Session, and I know he would love to be on top of the podium.
Yeah, no stranger to a gold medal here at Simple Session either. Took the win in BMX Street back in 2017.
Donnachie, BSD rider, getting technical on the rail, riding up. Let's see what he's going to throw coming down. Crank arm slide across, hopping over into the transition right there.
Again, that hop over, man, like pulling all of that strength to get your bike and yourself over the rail out of that grind. The big gap there to double peg, 180 and out.
Yeah, Donnachie, the Vans rider, looking to do that switch foot. You saw the way he changed his positioning and put his left foot forward as he gets a clean combo across that stage. Bar spin, looking for the manual. 360 coming off the hard way right there.
So looking to link that section together.
Yeah, we talk about those manuals on the front or rear wheel. That's really a way that a rider can kind of throw a few more toppings on the sundae of their trick combination. And if you're able to, whoop, there we go. He's just having fun right there on that no-footer. But if you're able to link things together, each trick that you put together, it's harder and more difficult. And if you wind up crashing on that combination, well, you're not going to get those points and you might be penalized. But if you can wind up putting more and more tricks together, like we saw Alex Kennedy did 4 or 5 combos, that's where you're really rewarded with the points.
Absolutely. So taking a look at some of Alex's replays, there's the crank arm and the pop over the rail, the full strength needed for that one.
Yeah, and that's difficult too because your cranks do move when you're grinding in that position, so you got to get that finesse to hop over and clear your rear wheel, as opposed to when you're in a double peg grind, the peg is stationary, you're not going to get that spin like you would on the crank arms. So taking a look, the manual coming across out of the grind, you see him just hop right up, land in that feeble, and then he turns to the right. That is that hard 180 coming out, and there you go. He says, I'm going to do a hard 360. So Donnachie showing you why he's able to have such a good run right here at that double tire up, and then there you go, just the no-footer clowning around. He wanted to do a different combination, and you saw he just had a little style and smile coming out with that no-footer.
As a judge, though, you've got to give that no-footer a score. Yeah. Like, that's got to happen.
Yeah, maybe that will be the biggest factor on that 60.50. So Donnachie is going to be sitting in 7th place, but I can't stress enough that this is a best run that counts, because that could change with any rider out there.
Now, we've been talking about those combos, and if you like combos, this is your guys, Courage Adams.
Yeah, Courage was our #1 qualifier yesterday. That's why he's going to be the last rider to compete today. Some say that's a big advantage because you could watch the rest of the playing field and then adjust your score, or your riding rather, for your score based off of what everyone else did. But here we go, 60 seconds starts, and you see the power as he hops that 360 from the double peg grind.
The distance.
Courage Adams going back with that nose press across into a Smith with the bar spin. Now, Courage Adams came onto the scene about 4 or 5 years ago at Simple Session, and his combinations were so technical, but the difficulty thing is to get the consistency when it counts in your run. And we've seen over the last few years, Courage Adams really step up the consistency factory, and he has yesterday. So let's see if he can keep it going. Bar spin, manual, bar spin, looking for the ice pick grind.
It's one of those things, isn't it? Because I always remember with Courage, it was kind of like, if he can get it done, he's untouchable. But it's whether he can get it done. And he seems to be able to do that now. He seems, like you say, to kind of up that consistency.
Yeah, Courage is definitely one of the most technical street riders out there. Oh, man. All right. Thankfully, it looks like Courage is okay.
I was worried he'd rolled his ankle there coming out, running down that bank. Because the thing is, it's like we say, everything's relative, so it kind of looks like a normal size skate park, but actually everything is so big here that kind of even just jumping and running out of that's probably not super comfortable.
Yeah, and like you're saying, a lot of pressure coming down on his feet or ankles. Hopefully he'll be okay to take his second run. But let's look right here. The hop from that 360, I mean, he actually boosts up about 2 or 3 feet above that rail. It's hard to do to get your speed and be so smooth to entry onto the rail where you can exit with that hop. Now, take a look at the manual. He spots where he's going, finds it with that 360 coming around. I know that Courage is sponsored by Fly Bikes, and we've got David and all the boys in Spain cheering him on as he does that gap to Smith from the nose manual. It's a lot more difficult to find that balance point on your front wheel as opposed to your back like this traditional manual, because your weight is pitched over your bars and you almost have to adjust using your arms and your body weight, and it's easy to go over the bars, but Courage right there is going to get a 70.66, so he's going to sit in that 4th place spot.
Okay, so a little bit of work to do for Courage in run number 2. But he's someone, I mean, we saw him qualify in 1st place. He could absolutely do this. So let's take a look through the rankings. We've got Broc Raiford sat in 1st place at the moment. Reed Stark just behind with an 83.66. Gaspar Guendulain with the 77. Courage Adams in 4th. Bruno Hoffmann in 5th. Joe Jarvis getting it done. I don't know whether he's sober or not, but he's getting it done. He's in 6th place. We've got Anthony Perrin in 7th and Alex Donnachie in 8th, doing it for Scotland. Bora Altintas in 9th. AK in 10th. Parker Heath in 11th, followed by Hobie Doan, Miguel Smajli, Andriy Podoba, and Joona Peijari. So those are your standings right now. We've got run 2 coming up in a moment's time after this break.
Hi.
Remember your first bike ride? The wind in your face. The sense of freedom and adventure. Ampler's light e-bikes give you that feeling on every ride by making cycling effortless. Find your Ampler e-bike at amplerbikes.com.
Wow. CBD from Zen Native. Look at them. No, not them. Relax and turn it on. Calm down your mind. Get a relief. Be Zen Native. Be sexy. Zen Native will cool you down. Why get anxious? Why get edgy? When you can get Zen Native with free delivery from GetHub.shop.
Okay, welcome back to the Simple Session 2021 BMX Street Finals. It's James Threlfall here, joined by Daryl now, and we're getting ready for run 2 right now.
Yeah, our first run was underway. If you're just joining us, this is a Simple Session 21 BMX Final. Riders are going to have 2 runs out on the course. They just ran through their first one. 60 seconds will be they have to work with both times. It is a best run format that counts, so we could potentially see anything happen in this second run for our riders. The name of the game is consistency, speed, unique approach on the course, and most importantly, if they can do technical, difficult tricks within that time frame, they can get a higher score. Our 4 judges, Bart de Jong, Marcus Vilke, Tom Sillens, and Brian Kaczynski, are going to give the riders up to a max score of 100.
And we're getting straight back into things with Bora Altintas, the half-cab whip down the Euro. And he's sitting pretty sweet right now. I mean, he wasn't in the finals due to injury. He's obviously managed to sneak his way in, and he's currently sat in 9th, so he's trying to build on that. Had a full pull on his opening run. There's the truck driver over the pyramid as well, heading round on that vert wall and going fast.
Yeah, looking to go on that wall ride, charging right back. Ice pick coming down. Look at the power and precision right there. You saw that he just found his peg and grinded all the way down top to bottom. If a rider can utilize the speed and momentum, unfortunately falling off. If a rider does fall, they're able to keep rolling and they can still utilize that 60 seconds. They just won't score as high of points as far as if they were able to be smooth and not have any feet down or crashes.
Shame to see him step off of that kind of usually reliable 180 whip as well. Because other than that, that was a great run for Bora. He wants one more. This is going to be for the crowd though. Heads back up onto this race section.
Yeah, having a little difficulty. Actually, so as you mentioned, Bora Altintas was a last-minute addition to the event. 2 riders that qualified yesterday, our defending champion Felix Prenenberg and Jerry Blabo, both got injured right before the competition, and that gave an opportunity for Bora Altintas and Joona Peijari to enter in the contest. Taking a look, though, that 180 cab with the tail whip was really smooth. There's the bar spin to ice pick. You see that he catches the handlebars and grinds the entire distance of the rail. Here's a bar spin to double tire ride, lands high up in the transition, and it gave him enough speed to do that bunny hop over toothpick, and then double peg coming down the second stage kink.
It's good. I mean, the double peg is a trick you're going to see commonly time and time again, but the judges like that. Just that you're, okay, cool, you're throwing it in, you're making it happen. Remember the QR code on the screen. Visit Estonia Viewers' Choice. Vote for your favorite rider or riders out there. You get 3 votes and you can distribute them however you like. You can give them all to one person or you can mix them up. But the great thing is that obviously a rider wins an award for this, but you can also win a 4-night stay in Tallinn with a full program as well of things to do whilst you're here. So, Bora, unfortunately not going to step up that first run score, but making it into the finals and definitely up in his position from qualifiers. So another one that made it in due to the injuries for Jerry Blabo and Felix Prenenberg is Joona Peijari.
So Joona on course. There's the 540, a little different than we saw the 540 on the quarter pipe earlier from our other competitors. It's harder to do on the wedge because you have to rely more on your bunny hop as opposed to that steeper transition that can push you up into the air. So Peijari from Finland right now coming back with that ice pick grind, hopping over, unfortunately not able to find the balance point, but he still has 30 seconds to work with, James.
Do you think he was trying to hold the ice pick all the way through, and that drop to double pegs?
Yeah, you never want to really call out a rider, but I believe that's what he wants to do because that rail is a little mellow through the kinks and you can find it. Maybe potentially he was looking to do a variation or hop over the rail, but it's hard to find that balance point for the entire distance.
Absolutely. That feeble 360 as well, a trick that the riders seem to be loving out here this weekend. And that is going to be time.
Oh, all right. Getting that final thought right there. The lucky grind to 180. Little fun fact, that lucky grind is actually named after John Lucky Engelbert. He's one of the pioneers of BMX Street from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It's when you stall on your back peg and pedal and you drop your front peg down. So we're seeing some variations of that with his 180 at the end of the run. But let's take a look right here at this 360 all the way to flat. You see that he's able to use his legs and arms for some shock absorption. Double peg down the hubba. Here's a look at that feeble to 360. That was on his non-conventional side, on his right side there, because you saw his left foot was forward. And here's a look at that lucky grind. You saw that his front peg was not on the ledge, and he got the 180 off the hubba.
With that lucky grind as well, with that front wheel being dipped, it's more than a 180 you've got to pull out.
Yeah, you got to really use some of that body English and that finesse to get that hop coming around, and you have that difficulty of where your front peg can also get caught on the ledge or the rail. Yeah. So that's not an easy trick to do by any means.
Yeah, good one to finish off the run with, but Joona, like Bora Altintas, taking his first run score, not able to improve there. We head now to Andriy Podoba, currently sat in 14th. Coming down that kinked rail.
Whoa, all right. You can see the head nod of approval right there. Getting that cab with the tail whip as he rotated around fakie on the wedge. So let's see, crank flip right there. Toothpick with the back end hanging over the rail all the way down. Rick kicking the cranks as he fires back with that tail whip on the A-frame. I believe that was an opposite direction tail whip, meaning he kicked it with his front foot as opposed to his rear foot. Got that nice nose press to foot jam 360 across the channel. Double tire. Yes, there you go. Nose press 180 bar spin. And as we said, this is a best run format that counts. So if we see a rider coming out doing similar tricks that they attempted on their first run, they're not going to be penalized for that. A judge wants to see a rider be able to put together a solid 60 seconds out there. So it's going to come down to a little bit of a rider's approach.
Yeah, like we say, the ideal situation to have nailed your first run and almost be able to do the same run, but just throw in a few more variations, just mix it up slightly to up the ante. Right, let's take a look at Andriy's replays.
Yeah, there you go. Toothpick, sliding the wheel over, able to grab the crank arm, and then the 180. And look at that. You actually saw that he was able to do a full 360 with the tail whip, bunny hop on the wedge. That's a very difficult trick right there.
Giving himself that little nod of approval after the cab whip as well.
Yeah, I mean, if he wanted to throw his hand up in the air, even crack open one of Joe Jarvis's beers, that's well deserved. I mean, very technical thing to do and hard at the moment's notice during the final. So throwing up the double deuces, putting his second run in the books.
Fan of those nollie 180 bars as well. Just waiting for Andriy's score. Is he going to improve?
Shout out to the BSD family. Grant Smith out there, not only supporting all the riders, I know he's anxiously waiting for the scores to come in. Again, don't sleep on this Visit Estonia Viewer's Choice. Get your smartphone out now and make sure that you grab a photo of that and follow the link. Vote for your favorite rider. You want to come to Tallinn, Estonia. This is one of the most beautiful places that I've ever been to. There's so many fun activities to do, not only if you ride or skate. We have the Spot, the skate park of Tallinn, but you could hit the streets, go jump in the Baltic Sea, and you could wind up partying as well. So it looks like the 62.50 is going to be his best effort, and he's going to be sitting in 7th place.
A nice little increase for Andriy Podoba as Hobie Doan comes back in for his second run with that double peg up and then 180 out over the rail.
So Hobie's a very exciting rider, doing it for Kink BMX. Manual to the 180. That was awesome, James. He had to thread the needle on that 180. You're only landing on about a 2-foot wide platform, and that was great style. The nosedive on that tooth hanger. Going up, stalling on that pole jam, getting the 180 up, and a double tire ride. All right, all right.
Hobie Doan coming out and mixing it up for his second run.
Now there is some girth to that rail, but it's hard to hold an ice pick across the whole rail. Both kinks, look, he's got a big smile plastered on his face as Hobie has 14 seconds to work with.
I guess because on a shorter rail, you can just hit fast and you don't have to balance the ice pick quite so much.
Man.
That was a big spill. He's good though. He's all good. Yeah, what I was saying with the ice pick in terms of like on a shorter rail, if you hit it fast, you don't have to balance it quite so much, but that's showing so much skill to be able to really balance that ice pick down, across, and back down again on that long rail. I mean, that's a good 30, 35 foot.
Yeah, James, I gotta say, I'm so disappointed in his crash right there. This was a big run. You saw the way he was able to 180 over the rail. That wasn't necessarily at the end. He got that pop. He was able to clear his rear wheel, floating over the rail. Now take a look. This is what we're talking about, that ice pick. You see his body weight is back and he uses his legs to find the balance point, and that was clean right there. I know Rooftop Mike Escamilla would definitely approve of coming right off the end with his rear peg. Here's Emmanuel across the stage, and we talked about threading the needle. You were traveling backwards. You saw how close his front wheel was to almost going off the edge, but if you're Hobie Doan, you say, I got this under control. And here's a look at that nosedive style, this time going the opposite direction, getting that front peg and drifting it back. And again, unfortunately, he had that crash. The run was solid up to that point, but I believe he had about 12 seconds or so left, so that is going to potentially negatively impact his score pretty high.
Yeah, for sure. There we go. I mean, still bumps himself to 5th, which is a really, really respectable place to be with a 67.16. But it's almost what could have been without that crash at the end.
Yeah.
Parker Heath, who the fans definitely liked, attacked this course on his first run. Currently sat in 13th, though, and wants to improve on that.
Yeah, let's see if Parker could bring some of that ramp style. And this time he's starting it off with that suicide no-hander transfer. Also throwing in that X-up and an X-up grind. So Parker, 10 seconds in, already has 3 big tricks. And let's also note Parker's speed. If he's able to keep the accelerant going like he did with that 540.
This is a great start for Parker. Just linking it all back to back. Bang, 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 bang. And the judges appreciate that so much.
Yes, getting the fakie bar spin variation right there. Looking for a little crooked grind across that flat rail. Let's see if Parker can pull back that throttle and get his speed going again. If he could rev his engine and come in hot for these last 15 seconds, that will be really crucial for Parker. 360 up. Gap to feeble, 180. Getting it clean, throwing up the deuces. I think he's psyched. I don't know. He might throw something else in here. Right there. He's taking Alex Donnachie's trick. Copying his style with that no-footer variation across. But Parker right there making the use, the GT rider, putting down a solid 50 seconds. Look at this suicide no-hander across the channel.
Such a big gap to hit as well.
Yeah, it's hard because you got to clear your back end and the tire over the rail and still get it going. There was that X-up grind. I know I'm throwing out some shout-outs to riders. Want to give it to Joe Kowalski, Butcher. He's also used to grow up riding with John Engelbert, one of the first riders to do X-up grinds down the rail. And we're seeing Parker do variations here at Simple Session 21. Big excitement on that cab coming out from that bar spin to bar spin back with the fakie. And here's a look at Parker's exclamation point on his run as he does that feeble with the 180. And he is definitely excited, and you can hear the love from our Estonian crowd.
So a cheeky full pull for Parker Heath. And I imagine he's going to get rewarded for that. Very nicely from our panel of esteemed judges.
We're actually seeing right there the gentleman in that tan cap is Brian Kaczynski. He's another GT rider, so he is a teammate. They're going to spend some time traveling throughout Estonia afterwards, putting together a little bit fun edit. You can check us out at GT Bicycles and see all their stories and what they do online. But looks like it's going to be a 65.33, so 7th for Parker.
Yeah, great advancement for him. Great way to dive up the board. And now taking over that 13th place that Parker Heath was in is Alex Kennedy. But someone who, if he can land what he was putting together, what he was eyeing up in his first run, can absolutely shoot himself up the rankings.
Yeah, Alex Kennedy shooting himself up from that double peg 180 coming down the rail. We talked about Alex Kennedy really getting in the right mindset before a competition, focusing not only on mind and body. Double peg on that sub box, looking for some kind of bars coming down.
Really kind of took that to flat off that vert wall as well. He would have felt every inch of that drop.
The Cult Crew rider going for that X up, trying to find the manual and just looping out right there. I know the entire Cult family is cheering on Alex Kennedy. Robbie Morales, the Cult captain, is saying, let's go, Alex, you got 10 seconds to work with. Kennedy coming back, ice pick, hopping over. All right, all right. Double peg out of that 180. And that is time. We might see something else, though, after the buzzer from Kennedy, just for the fans. Oh, double tire. Oh, I was hoping he was going to be able to go the distance.
Take it all the way. Unfortunately, not quite Alex Kennedy's day. But still managing to get some great stuff done. And always great to have AK simple session.
Yeah, let's take a look at one of the masters of BMX at work. Big bunny hop with the double peg. That's a high ledge, and then you have that gap afterwards to the stage. And the 180, smooth, powerful, and in control. Those are three great ways to describe his riding, as you also have that toothpick hanging the back wheel over. Take a look at the ice pick. That's the balance point. Bunny hop, no problem at all. Going for that Doritos rail. And you see he was trying to go the distance with that double peg tire ride. Unfortunately, not able to get that done. So his first score of a 58.33 will be the best of two. So he's going to sit with that 13th ranking.
Yeah, shame we didn't get to see AK firing on all cylinders. But great to have him out here getting stuff done. Nevertheless, right, we hand now to our third place. Currently in third place rider, Gaspar Guendulain.
Yeah, Gaspar, as we said, so technical, likes to focus on that front wheel. And whoa!
No, man.
Oh, wow. It's looks like maybe his forks blew off right there. Unbelievable. That is something no rider wants to have happen. It looks like his steer tube took two pieces. That you don't want to see that. Let's take a look right here. Gaspar coming down, presses on the front wheel, lands backwards with so much pressure. The forks go. You see him holding on to the handlebars. No rider ever wants their fork to break. You don't want to have it happen in competition, but if it were to break, that's maybe the trick you'd want it to be on, because he was able to fall back onto his rear end as opposed to some of the big nose manual tricks or front ends that he does.
So, if I'm reading this situation right, it looks like Bora is trying to offer his bike up to see if we can almost get a second hit.
I hope that
it's such a shame.
Yeah, I hope that we do. Like, simple session is always about having a good time. Maybe they're going to try to change the fork around. The judges will determine how that will work. The reason why he's probably not grabbing somebody else's bike and just taking to the course, as we were mentioning, he does a lot of front end tricks on his bike, and that balance point of your front wheel for nose manuals is such a finesse that you need. Even if it's off by a millimeter or 1 degree of your head tube, you can feel that. So if a head tube, let's say, is a little bit steeper, and I'm talking about where the fork goes into the bike, if it's a little bit steeper, James, your steering is going to be quicker, and if it's a little bit further back, it's going to be slower. Now, a lot of riders, the kind of sweet spot for bikes these days is 74 or 75 degrees, but if you're a street rider and you especially do nose manuals, you're going to maybe be 75, 76, and we're only talking about a degree or two difference, but that can make your steering feel so much different.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we're going to see maybe our bike mechanics down there are going to get him rolling, and he'll wind up taken back to the course. You can see right there, there's actually a bearing. It looks like potentially a bearing, and maybe one of his cups blew out.
Such a shame as well, because we were so excited to see what Gaspar had. Having had that absolutely storming first run, with that 77 on the board.
Yeah, and as we said, if a rider, these bikes are really strong and you never want that to happen, but better there than him going down a big handrail. We're having our street jam tomorrow on Sunday, so let's keep the party rolling.
Yeah, we're going to keep things going, and we'll see what happens as to whether Gaspar gets back out there on maybe some borrowed kit. But Miguel Smajli coming back in, coming out of Germany.
Miguel with that 180 peg bonk, 180 tail whip on the Visit Estonia quarter pipe. Bar spin coming back out of that peg jam up. Whoa, all right, 540 with the bar spin right there. Got a little bit of that back end pivot going on, but still was able to get the bike around.
Tucking up that 360 as well, styling that one out.
Up, looking to go for that same similar maneuver, but opted this time for a double peg over the moat with the tabletop. Coming back with the bar spin.
Just clipping that front wheel on the way round and stopping the rotation. He's all good though. That was kind of at the end of his run. So it's good that didn't stop him partway through. He was able to get the majority of what he was trying to do down. Looking to combo that as well.
Yeah, now James, no rider wants to crash, but if it is at the end of your run and you're able to at least get a full view of that 50 seconds beforehand, that can definitely help your score. If you fall in the beginning, it's harder to get your momentum and kind of come back and recover from that. So it's a difficult thing when that happens for a rider.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a bail really is kind of worth, it can be 15, 20 seconds of time really, and in a 1 minute run, and you've only got 2 of them, you don't want to be throwing away that kind of time at all.
Yeah, so we're looking at highlights right now from the Sabrosa Shadow rider. Miguel is on course, looking for that similar back wheel boogie. Wasn't able to get that back wheel technician going, but he wound up saying, I'm going to double peg and throw a nice little tabletop in for some style.
And he does increase his score as well, despite that fall at the end, 62.83, says Miguel, up into 9th place. So, Joe Jarvis had a great first run, 68. Or was that a 63 or 68? Yeah, 63.66.
Well, you could hear our party people in the stands cheering on Joe Jarvis as he is working it right now. 50 seconds to go. Crank arm slide to ice pick Bach on that Doritos quarter pipe bar spin to disaster. Jarvis going on that front wheel. Oh, extra points for clearing his hat and not putting any tire marks on that beanie as he finds his pedals from that hang 5 whiplash, 360 to flat. Jarvis right now looking similar to his first run. Nice, fast, smooth, and clean with the bar spin from the double peg. 360 over the moat, foot plant on the GT quarter pipe. Jarvis, can he keep it going? X-up grind coming down. Final thoughts, 10 seconds. What will Jarvis think at the end of his run? Come on, Joe.
Are we going to see that hang 5 whiplash off the drop?
This would be a great way to wrap things up.
I think he was going for the combo, right? He wanted to see if he could try and get it into a combo, which would have been big.
That's what we talk about, that risk reward. I believe this isn't going to count. This will just be for the fans, not only in attendance, but also at home. And for us.
It's on. Oh my gosh, Joe Jarvis, that bar spin Manny to hang 5 whiplash. Wow.
Yeah, the Federal Bikes rider is psyched right there. It's so hard to get a trick like that when the pressure is on and the consistency. As we said, it was after the allotted time. But look right here, crank arm slide. Talk about doing it for the bold. 360 off from that double peg. Jarvis again with the crank arm, hitting that rear peg for the ice pick. And here we have that hang 5, whiplashing around, hopping to the pedals. As we said, he cleared his beanie, so at the after party, he'll still look good and stylish. That 360 going the distance, traveling about 15 feet past the landing.
And this was the ultimate combo. It's crazy to hear him saying yesterday, literally, that he was just stoked to be getting the hang 5 whiplash off this drop, and he was saying, how scary he was finding that. The fact he then just threw it into that combo like that at the end, he's going to be buzzing.
Yeah, now, James, riders might say, why would that be a scary... Oh, 70.33. All right, so that's a big improvement right there.
Heads up to 5th. Incredible, incredible.
Yeah, so that trick can be scary because you have to have full commitment hopping to the pedals with your weight going over the handlebars.
Yeah, that's what he was saying, just in terms of he was just like, it's coming round and I jump at it. That's basically it. And I'm going off a drop. Anthony Perrin back in right now, coming out of France.
All right, our Frenchman could potentially move to the top of the board. As we said, he already has a win in 2021 at the Kiev contest that happened last weekend. Oh, man.
Just coming unstuck, and this is what we say about that time. It's like, you know, just that one fall, it doesn't just hurt your score in terms of being a fall, it hurts your score in terms of what you can actually then get back into that run.
Yeah, you got to find your rhythm when you're on the course right there, and hopefully Anthony Perrin can make the most of this 25 seconds, throwing that opposite bar spin onto the wedge, over double peg and hopping right back over. Turning around on our Sweets Kendama ramp. Double tire ride, all right. Just threading the needle a little bit, going wedge to wedge, coast to coast. Perrin with that double peg up, 180 bar spin. Man.
So Anthony, I think it's safe to say, probably going to be sitting with that first run score. Currently in 11th with a 61 dead. But he looks happy. He's out here having a good time. He's made the finals.
Yeah, I really feel like being at Simple Session 21, if you are just even riding or participating, there's definitely a lot to be happy with. A lot of excitement. There's that nose press to 180 backwards, finding that sweet spot. And we're taking a look. Nose bonk to 180 was stylish right there. He had that shifty going with his bike, hit that front peg, and then able to then change his momentum, and Perrin puts it in reverse with the 180.
And as with every contest, man, style, such a big consideration for the judges. There's so many things they're looking at all times, but style is such a big factor. Yeah, so as suspected, that 61 of its first run, staying in 11th. We'll see if that's where he ends up by the end of the day. Okay, so Bruno Hoffmann coming back in right now.
So just to refresh, Broc Raiford is sitting in that top spot with an 86. That is the score to beat. Whoa, all right. Hoffmann turning things up for his second trick. That was a 180 lucky grind going backwards. Crooked grind coming down. Again, Hoffmann has been a dominator in the BMX street world for the last 14 years. He grew up in the magazines. The German rider has added so many tricks and competitions under his belt, and it's insane to think, James, at 28, he's a veteran here.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and such a crowd favorite as well. The guys that have bought their tickets to Simple Session 2021, so excited to see Bruno Hoffmann out here.
That was rad. He did a wall tap on the sub, but he doesn't have any brakes, so he actually kind of manualed on the wall. That was a really little unique finesse. 10 seconds for Hoffmann.
And that over to tooth just then as well. That was almost a bonk. It was so far over the rail.
Getting that 180 from that wall jam. Hoffmann looks winded, but he's throwing up his hand right there. And listen to the crowd showing their appreciation for the German.
So is this going to be an increase on his run one score?
Well, his first run was a 65.66, so keep that in mind, and the score to beat is an 86, so he's going to have to potentially get better than that. But look at the double peg up, gets the 180 coming out, and then set up to go immediately down. And watch the way his pegs hit this. Front peg hangs low, that's that lucky, and then he puts it in reverse. Spinning back over the ledge, that was a big combination. That's what we do call that red carpet entrance. He was able to put the two big hits in back to back like that, and that is definitely going to be reflected in a positive way. So double on one side, hopping over, double peg on the other. Look at Hoffmann as the Red Bull rider comes in, jumping, hitting that peg.
That's that toothpick I was on about, where he barely got the end of the rail but made it happen.
Yeah. There we go right now. Hitting both tires, getting that 180, and coming around for Hoffmann. So you can see his federal teammate Joe Jarvis standing by his side as we wait for numbers. Will it be more than an 86, which is currently held by Broc Raiford? You can actually see Broc just over Bruno Hoffmann's right shoulder there as we're still waiting for score to come.
Judges deliberating this one. Just taking a look at the standings as well. Joe Jarvis still currently in 5th with that 70.33. Bruno Hoffmann in 7th with that 65.66. Are we going to see him break into the top 5 right here?
Yeah, will it be enough for him to move up that ladder? That's the question.
And it is a 73.50, takes Bruno Hoffmann up to 4th place.
Wow, so Hoffmann excited with that score, which he should be. He might be reaching into Joe Jarvis's cooler to celebrate. But right now, all eyes are on the American Reed Stark. He's got that 83.66, currently sitting in 2nd, and if anyone can move up to that top spot, it is definitely Reed Stark.
Yeah, the crazy thing for Reed as well, qualifying in 4th yesterday and just came out swinging today like I'm in business in the finals.
Look, he goes under the beam right there, threads the needle again, and not only dropping into the corner, but moving around our cameraman. Toothpick this time off the sub box. Reed Stark gapping over the A-frame rail, ice pick on the sub. Let's see if Reed keeps that throttle pinned as he did in his first run. Peg into the Smith after that wall slap with the rear wheel. Reed Stark over to ice pick. This is a big run so far, James. He's got to keep it going if he wants to hop in front of Broc Raiford.
Broc is going to be watching this intensely.
Yeah, Reed right there. I know he definitely got his front peg on. I don't know if his back peg came onto that pole jam, but it didn't really matter because he was able to keep riding. Gap to feeble. Oh, that was a big move right there. James, that was enormous. So he switched things up in run number 2, and this is what we talk about strategy. Instead of doing a gap to Smith, he did a gap to feeble grind, rear peg on the ledge, front tire up on there to speed across with the feeble, and then bam, he hit his tires into the up ledge of that hubba. That was a big move. So look at this toothpick slider. Winds up using the front wheel, and look how focused he is to wind up keeping his speed and momentum. Here he said, hey, I'm just going to turn around. I'll do that quick little ice pick. He's also on his own signature BSD Safari frame. You can see all the Safari colors, including on his seat right there. What he is known for as Stark does that hop over ice pick, and this is what I was talking about. Does he hit his back peg? Front peg hits, back peg just checks in for a second. That's why the smile went on. And then this huge exclamation point at the end of his run. This might make all the difference here. Gap to feeble past your GT rail, and watch how he goes the distance and then says, you know what? Boom, hits his rear wheel. That was big. James, that was a unique line. You had to have the speed and momentum, and boom, we got a new leader.
My gosh, 87.33, puts himself into 1st place and really takes it to Broc Raiford now. Like, Broc has to come out swinging in the next run. Like, man, Reed Stark just making it count, putting it down when he needed to.
We have our BMX riders here at Simple Session 21 Finals throwing haymakers, connecting left and right. Reed Stark with a huge run. So that is going to be the score to beat, the 87.33 that was just set by Reed Stark.
I haven't seen him practicing that either. I think he was just like, do you know what? It's going to take something big to beat Broc. I've got to come out swinging.
Yeah, and a rider that can go big is Broc Raiford. Let's see if he changes his strategy for run at number 2. Again, we talk about that risk-first reward as Raiford starts things off, this time with the bar spin. That's what he wanted to see. The crowd is roaring here in Tallinn, Estonia as he bar spins to tabletop out of that wall ride. Raiford down with the double peg and a huge 180, this time all the way to flat. It looks like Raiford knows he's going to need a big run to top over Reed Stark. Pumps up the vert wall. The Red Bull rider coming back with the double peg and a big 360. Smooth enough to hit the back peg on that A-frame over the moat. As Raiford comes back. 180 bar spin out with the 180. James, this is big right now.
Is it going to be enough? He knows he's got to go for Broc at this point, though.
Come on,
He's
Raiford.
going to take a big score to get ahead of Reed.
Raiford right now trying to work it out. 10 seconds. These are going to be make or break. Hopping with that toothpick slider on his opposite side. He has room for one final thought. Is Raiford going to let us know what's on his mind? Going up. Oh, kicking the tail whip opposite direction to the pedals. That was a big way to enter the course and a big way to exit.
Wow, such a huge run for Broc Raiford. As I say, was just like, do you know what? I've got to go for it. I've got to go for it. And absolutely making it happen right there as well. Talk us through this one, Daryl.
We saw that camaraderie, getting the big hug for Reed Stark. That was that spin rotation with the bar spin, the Sunday rider catching it smooth. And look at the momentum to 180 out of that double peg grind across the flat spot. Watch as Raiford charges with the 360. Again, take note, the score to beat is an 87.33. So as we're dissecting the run, do you think that might be enough? Big 360 after the double peg up the rail. And take a look right here as Raiford hops on, feeble grind, 360, and that was on his unconventional, not natural side, and same goes for that tail whip. You saw as his front foot moved back off the pedal and actually kicked the frame right by the seat to spin it around, and there is just a look at, hey, you know what? I came to Simple Session 21 and I got it done.
Huge battle going down right now at Simple Session 2021 in the BMX finals, and Thule is with Broc now.
Broc, I mean, that was, what a run. Whoa. Did you get motivated even more after you saw Reed taking the lead, or what was that?
Yeah, absolutely. I really feed off the energy of all the riders here. It's so cool to be here with everybody celebrating BMX. And also, yesterday was Estonia's birthday. Happy birthday, Estonia. It's awesome to be here to celebrate with you. And what better way to be here with all my BMX homies.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Estonia rocks! Woo!
Wow, so Broc Raiford, look at that top of the leaderboard, 92.33, the only rider to be in the 90s. Reed Stark is sitting there with an 87.33, and then we have Gaspar Guendulain with the 77, Bruno Hoffmann 73.50. Talk about a final, unbelievable. We are not done. There are two more riders left to take the course. Since this is the best run format that counts, that can get switched up until our last rider. Both of these guys qualified higher, so they have this advantage to go later on, and this is why you want to perform really well in our qualifier. Right now, the Scottish rider, Alex Donnachie, dropping on the course, doing that Smith grind across the flat rail. Donnachie knows it's going to take some big riding to move up into the 90s, and look at the precision as he double tire rides all the way up and then jumps onto the main stage. Coming back with the crank arm slide, hopping over. So James, we're seeing some consistency for Donnachie. He doesn't necessarily have the speed of Reed Stark or Broc Raiford, but he's got big combos like that gap, double peg grind, and 180 out. We saw no other rider utilize the course in that way so far.
Yeah, we've seen such a fierce battle already in these BMX finals, but it's not over. It's not over. We've still got Alex Donnachie, who's tearing it right now. Bar spin to Manny, getting that feeble.
Yes.
To 3 out. And we've still got Courage Adams to go as well. It could all get shaken up from here, and Alex definitely looking to improve on that score. Double peg up, ice down. Just throwing in that bar spin.
Come on, Donnachie, finish big. Oh, man. Winds up just stepping off to the side. But great riding for Donnachie in his second run.
I'll be impressed if we don't see him improve on his score, because that was a solid run.
Yeah, his first score was a 60.50, so keep that in mind since we've seen most of our riders take their first and second runs where you'll think that will fit. So that was that over to Smith grind right there. You see Donnachie is a left foot rider, so this is on his regular traditional side, as you would say. Going with that crank arm slide, and just nice and smooth. Even gets a little tuck going in. Coming back. Bar spin manual for the Vans rider as he looks for his obstacle that he's going to hop onto. He chooses to go onto that ledge, and it says, you know what, I'm dialed. I'll just throw down this 360. Donnachie, though, this is what it was all about. The gap over, and then that 180 the hard way. To me, that was one of my favorite tricks of the competition, because you saw he did just to get onto that rail. He almost threaded the needle, landed both pegs, and then had to still get the spin and rotation coming around. So Donnachie right there getting the magic number, the 69.50. That is a big improvement. 9 points up, 7th spot. Not enough to put him into that podium.
So we have one final rider. And he's not just a final rider, he is our first place qualifier and really could shake things up from here. Didn't have a flawless first run. It's Mr. Courage Adams.
Courage Adams taking the course. Right now, Broc Raiford is biting his nails because he is sitting in that first spot. The score to beat is a 92.33. If anyone can do it, it is Courage Adams. Very smooth on that nose manual across the stage, dropping into the Smith with the bar spin. Big 360 off the stage from the manual. Courage Adams coming back at us. Again, take note of the speed and consistency. Those are two main things that it's going to take for the next 27 seconds out of Courage Adams. Manual, where'd you going, James? Bar spin with the ice pick, boom! That's what he wanted on the first run. Right now, riders around the world, everyone's eyes are posted on Courage Adams saying, can he pull something big out? Can he leave the judges with a huge impression? Courage coming back to the sub box. Going up, front manual, front nose manual with the bar spin, boom! That's how you do it if you're Courage Adams.
And the crowd absolutely screaming at that one as well. The big question here, Daryl, is it going to be enough? Is it going to be enough?
I honestly can't tell you, because that was a huge way, big 360 just for the fans out there. That was a huge way to end your run right there. That nose manual to the bar spin off that sub box. We talked about it being a hard angle to get up there, especially when you launch into it. It's a very narrow quarter, but let's look at all the parts of his run as we dissect this double peg up to 360. Similar to Broc Raiford, he's got the big hop and pop, and he was so smooth that he could just toss the bars really casual into the wedge. Here's a look at the bar spin in the opposite direction right there. Back wheel manual, spots his exit, perfect 360. Pelvis right up to the handlebars to bring that front end down. And take a look, this was the manual he wanted in run number 1, and he had some difficulty getting onto the rail, but this time, bars come around, perfect cadence, grabs the grips, ice pick. But this is what might be the deciding factor. Pressing into that front nose manual and then tossing the bars. So difficult. Talk about a scary trick. You're pitched over the bars, you come to the edge of that sub box, you toss them around. Courage Adams having no problem at all, and this 360 was just for the fans, and I think for him just being psyched that he got it done.
Amazing, great stuff. We are actually going to have another run from Gaspar, but let's go down to the park where Thule's with Courage now to hear his thoughts.
Courage Adams, oh wow, like what a run again. I mean, this has been such a tough final. We don't even know who's going to win anymore. What are your thoughts? Who's going to win? Are you going to win?
I don't know, but I'm so happy that I did my line last one. That nose man was so fucking scared and difficult. I don't know. Well,
what? I can't see the score. Okay, the crowd is getting very loud, but you got the second place, Courage. But I mean, it was such a tough competition, and congratulations either way.
Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
What a crazy contest this is turning out to be, Daryl. Courage bumping himself up to second place. We are going to have one more rider, Gaspar Guendulain, coming in.
Yeah, so Gaspar right now is going to take to the course. He had that difficulty where his forks broke. It looks like he did a little bit of bike maintenance. He is such a technical rider. I know that we have two big scores in the 90s, but if you're riding at the simple session final, you could potentially shake the entire pack up. Right now, he almost has an advantage because the forks broke, because he's actually going last. So he could almost pair his riding to, hey, how much heat do I have to put on this fire to potentially get a 92.33 or more.
So here he goes.
All right, big tail whip dropping in. That is the whopper right to the pedals. Throwing the flare on the Visit Estonia quarter pipe. Bar spin down. Toothpick hanger. All right, he's got a solid start for the first 15 seconds.
Remember as well, he's on borrowed forks for this one too.
Yeah, over crank arm. All right. Gaspar coming back as he builds momentum on a Red Bull quarter. Kicking that whip around to pedals. This is looking solid so far. Remember, he's got to ride where he's getting a score 92.33 or more, and that was big. We talked about his front wheel positioning. He was able to gap to a nose manual and then pivot on the front end to get that 180. That was a very difficult trick. Feeble grind down, 180. 9 seconds. What's going to be the final thought for Gaspar? Here we go. Going backwards. Bar spin. And I think that's going to be time. All right, Gaspar right there with that big moves.
Great way to get it done. Gaspar going to be happy with that. He's still sitting in fourth. So that's obviously the worst he can do today.
So, James, take a look. Bunny hop tail whip right there. You see, that was different than Broc Raiford's because Broc actually had his foot position where he was right foot forward. So now, right there, you saw Gaspar at his left foot forward. He was able to kick the frame around with his rear foot. That's why it was a regular tail whip for him. There's an over crank arm slide down. You see that he grabs his crank arm. He's able to balance on the rail. And this was one of my favorite tricks of the whole contest. Gap, even though it wasn't a big gap, you got to find that front wheel balance point and still pivot where you don't get pitched over the bars or you don't fall backwards.
Okay, great.
Taking a look. Feeble grind to 180. So Gaspar right now, we're going to wait for his score. All right, a 79.66. So that means Gaspar is going to be in fourth. That's not shabby at all. Fourth place position. That means that we are looking at Broc Raiford, your Simple Session 21 champion right there. Came out huge with a 92.33. Taking a look at Reed Stark. He is sitting in third place with that 87.33, and Courage Adams is nestled between them with a 92. Unbelievable right here. You can see smoke coming up from our Simple Session course. Look at that. Broc Raiford, USA, 92.33. Courage Adams with the Spain flag flying strong, 92. Reed Stark, USA, again, 87.33. So those are your top three finishers. The Red Bull rider of Broc Raiford. Big honor and big accomplishment to be a Simple Session champion. The energy is so cool. It's all your fellow riders here in Tallinn, Estonia, cheering you on. I know Raiford is thrilled. All right, I think we're going to catch some words, and we're going to hear from Thule and Broc Raiford.
Broc Raiford, winner of Simple Session BMX Street 2021. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. This has honestly been a dream of mine for so long. I've been coming to Simple Session for many years now, and it just feels good to be here with my homies after such a challenging year to ride BMX. And I mean, it's awesome to walk away with a win. It really is.
We saw some amazing brotherhood during this competition. I mean, a broken bike, someone lended some parts. I mean, I see you guys hugging in the backstage. Tell us about the brotherhood of Simple Session.
You know, it's just really cool because I see these guys all over the world and we travel together all the time. I watch all their videos and they watch all each other's videos, and it's just really cool to come here and be one big BMX family and cheer each other on. And that's what it is every time we come to Simple Session. It's such a good time.
Amazing. Thank you so much and congratulations once again.
Thank you so much. Love you, Mom.
Amazing what a contest that was, Daryl. Such a huge, huge battle that went down there in the final runs.
Yeah, talk about BMX Street at its finest. Our riders just giving haymakers back and forth and connecting. We saw Reed Stark and Broc Raiford just delivering unbelievable runs out there, putting some gasoline on the course, just lighting the match and firing it out. But when it all came down to it, Broc Raiford is going to be able to say that he is Simple Session 21 champion. That's such a big honor for any any rider out there, let alone a street rider from the United States who's having a huge year.
Yeah, do you know what? Especially kind of not to dwell on it, but after the year that we've had coming back, this is one of the first contests a lot of the guys have hit. This must just feel so good to get back out there.
Yeah, it's unbelievable because Broc Raiford is definitely one of your street riders. As I mentioned a little bit in the broadcast, there was a street jam in New York City a couple weekends ago, the Dawn of the Streets, and he went out there and put on a demo in New York City. He got first place at that. So then to come here to like a traditional format contest and then still be able to put down, it really just shows you how well-rounded Broc Raiford is as a rider.
Yeah, and absolutely, we've been talking all contest about the Visit Estonia Viewers' Choice Award, and we're really excited to say that that also goes to Broc Raiford today. So a huge shout to Broc Raiford just taking the winnings all round. Yeah, massive congratulations. Absolutely killed it, and can completely see why that happened. So there we go. We've got the graphics coming up on the board that show exactly what went down. So quickly wrap up some of your key moments today that you just really loved, Daryl.
Look, first of all, I'm just thrilled that we were able to come together and make Simple Session 21 happen. It's been a wild year for everybody around the world. The fact that the skating and BMX community could come together, it just really, right here, touches my heart. The fans in Estonia are always the best. Hearing them cheer on the riders and the energy and the passion, I love that. Also, the riding, props to all of our riders out there. Even if they didn't make it into the finals, they really brought a new energy to the course. Seeing our competitors, but I gotta give it up to my man, Reed Stark. Talk about turning it up in the finals. Same with Courage Adams, that nose manual to bar spin, but Broc Raiford came out on top today. Big double pegs to 360s off, that switch tail whip coming down. Broc, very well deserved out there.
Absolutely incredible. It's been amazing. It's been great to be back, and thank you for joining me, of course, Daryl. It's been an absolute honor to be calling the action with you here today. And if you want to be back with us at Simple Session 2022, you want to come and actually check out Simple Session, we'd highly recommend it. Come to Tallinn, come and join us. But in terms of the Viewers' Choice Award, we talked about Broc Raiford winning there. There is going to be one lucky person that is going to be winning, and we are having the details on the screen right now. If this is you, there is one person that is going to be taking a nice 4-night trip to Tallinn to come and hang out. And maybe that could be next year. Speaking of which, here's the date. Come and be with us.
Energy. I need that energy. I need that. Been here, done that. You wanna know what we came for? Been here, done that. You wanna know what we came for? Energy. I need that energy. I need that energy. Been here, we done that. You wanna know what we came for? You wanna know what we came for? We been here, we done that. Energy. I need that energy. Done that. You wanna know what we came for? Energy. I need that energy.
I'm standing here in front of you lovely people until Tallinn, Estonia. You guys are the reason why myself, Daryl now, all these athletes and the judges coming here to Estonia year in and year out. You guys are welcoming us here in the wonderful city of Tallinn year in, year out. From the bottom of my heart, I would like to thank you guys for the biggest love for BMX freestyle. Thank you guys. Come here, brother. Come here. Everyone recognize this guy? I've been announcing Simple Session a couple of years with this fella here. This time we were separated, by rooms, by space, but not by spirit. So how about you give a round of applause, please, for Daryl now.
Thank you, Estonia. I absolutely love everybody in Tallinn. You welcome not only myself, but all the riders with open arms. And I want to please give yourselves a round of applause for being so amazing every year. And last but certainly not least, before we get ready to do the awards, if we could give it up one more time, but this time for the MC of Simple Session, holding the duties by himself. Let's put our hands together for Andy Zeiss.
All right, so just a few moments. We're going to prepare the awards right now, and I hope after the awards, I'm going to see everyone at the boutique bar at the after show party, all right? Okay, so we're going to see us back at the awards. Bear with us.
Yeah, just to reiterate what Andy said, we're going to do awards in just a moment. I see everyone's hanging. We're chilling. It's nice to be together. It's been a crazy year, and I love that we're going to celebrate our riders. So please don't go anywhere. Awards are in just a moment. Different awards going on today, and as you know, there's a lot of riders that come from Estonia, and thanks to LHV Bank, we do have an award for the best Estonian rider. So please, let's welcome up to the stage and winning the award, Chris Patrick Tilk.
He is actually in the stands right there. Chris, come up here, buddy. And we're gonna keep the awards going. The Visit Estonia's Viewers' Choice Award is a round trip, flight tickets to Estonia, 4 nights in a hotel, a full 4-day stay for 2 people. All you wonderful people out there watching us live, the Viewers' Choice Award, you voted out there. So please welcome to stage none other than Broc Raiford. We keep the awards going, boys and girls. It is, we witness as the opener, as the starter for today, if you may will, the GT BMX Best Trick Session, where we handed out some cash to all the riders. But there was one gentleman that stood out from them all, and he is the overall winner of the GT BMX competition. Please welcome to stage, he performed a lucky to hard tail whip. Please welcome, this is Philippos Kosmidis.
All right, how about it? Let's put our hands together for our 3 winners. this is Simple Session 21. We had over 30 of the world's best street riders come. We witnessed the finals today, and coming in 6th place. Let's get loud and put our hands together for the man with the 20-pack of beers. I'm talking about Joe Jarvis.
And you keep that noise going, because we're going to 5th place, ladies and gentlemen. And this 5th place goes to another federal rider. Please welcome to stage, Bruno Hoffmann. All right, the next rider who ended up in 4th place, and think about that, what mentally must have gone through his head. He came back swinging with his stellar performance in run number 1, then broke his bike on the first or second trick in run number 2, came back at the bottom of the list and absolutely crushed it one more time with a big old swing. Please welcome to stage the Argentinian rider, Gaspar Guendulain.
All right, well, 3 riders remain. These are our podium position riders. I don't even have to tell you to get loud, because he's been coming to Estonia for a few years and has already become a favorite. Not only jumping in the Baltic Sea, not only sometimes getting on a skateboard, not only doing kendama, not only DJing the after party tonight, but getting 3rd place, USA's Reed Stark.
We keep the party rolling. 2nd place with 2 banger runs. And when it mattered, he put all chips in. He put all in, went all in, and conquered with that nose wheelie on that sub box in the bar spin in. From Madrid, España, please welcome Courage Adams.
All right, Tallinn, Estonia. 1 rider came out on top. One of the biggest honors that anyone can ever have in the sport of BMX Street is to be able to call themselves a Simple Session 21 champion. He's riding for Red Bull, coming from the USA, Broc Raiford!
sure a musical message would be understood. Because humans are curious by nature.
Red Bull gives you wings.
sajaga edasi, sajaga edasi, sajaga edasi. ja teeme ühe veel, seekord
sajaga edasi.
ülijõud ossud ju. kuldsete munade saladus ongi panna lihtsalt sajaga edasi. Võtaks 100 purksi palun. Mul on vist pangakontol 100 euri ju.
Sajaga edasi.
They are out there, waiting to be discovered. Some of them are big, and some of them are small. But that's the thing with ideas. They don't just come to you. To find them, you have to move. Kia, movement that inspires.